Doing good. Rolling off a high of this past weekend. I went to the Leafs Devils game on Thursday. Big dub to make it 11 in a row there in overtime. That was fun. And then we motored on down to Ottawa. Chad, myself, and Reese Barrett ripped down to Ottawa to watch that game. The part of the game that we saw was excellent. Really enjoyable, especially as a Devils fan. 5-1 win to go 12 in a row. Basically, watching that game, I never once felt a threat from Ottawa. I was like, never threatened that they were going to score or maybe come back even or anything like that. It was just like, yeah, the Devils are kind of practicing here and we'll see how it goes. When I was trying to think back of who was standout players watching that game for Ottawa, I was like, I guess Kachuk because he hits. Other than that, there wasn't much going on. And I don't know, I thought that team was going to be better. So let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the fact that I don't know if I ever want to go to another game in Ottawa until they're downtown, or ever, maybe. I don't know. Because we were, I'll say, inside of a kilometer to the rink at around 12:40 for the 1 o'clock game. And we got to our seat at 1:20 after we got through the ridiculous amount of traffic once we got through a roundabout with 4,800 cars. And then we got through, another intersection, and we bought parking ahead because we're like, hey, let's make this easy on them, easy on ourselves. We'll get parking through Ticketmaster so we don't have to pay when we get there. We just roll right through. They say, okay, you've got parking and it's for either lot 5, 6, or 9. We drive in and the first lot of ours that we see is 9. It's got a line all the way out the parking spot. And we're like, okay, I guess that doesn't look good. Let's go to 6 or 5. Yeah. Turns out 6 and 5 are the last 2 parking lots that we drive by. We drive by 6 and a police officer says, I know you see empty spots, but this one's full. Keep moving. We're like, okay. 5. Blocked off, not a single parking spot left. We get to do all of the traffic again. Isn't that fun?
The same route all over again.
It wasn't fun enough the first time, so let's do all that Ottawa traffic again to get into their rink in the middle of a frickin' farmer field. So we missed 14 minutes of the first period, and I'll say for this game was probably a total of 11 hours of driving after we got hit by a snowstorm on the way home. And 11 hours of driving to see 2 periods in 5 minutes.
Yeah. Fuck. Dude, just brutal. That rink, the location alone is just terrible. Like we've talked about that on the podcast before, but the infrastructure around it, like the parking situation makes no sense. There's one road basically that goes into the little, it's almost like a subdivision, I would say. Like there's a bunch of little roads that kind of go around the rink, and there's only one main access road that takes the majority of traffic into there that is filtered through this roundabout that no one knows how to drive through anyways in Ottawa, because it's not a city known for being so incredibly hectic, especially in Canada, unless there's a game. So it was just ridiculous to get in, and it's not set up properly. And I was telling you, I hadn't been to a game in Ottawa in like a long time. I want to say 7-8 years. It had been a long time. And, so my experience of going to NHL games now is always going to be compared to going to games in Toronto, which is just completely different, completely seamless. You don't have to drive to the rink. You can take transit there. You can take transit home, or you can Uber, and it's super easy. If you do drive there and you don't have to, you're a psychopath, and I wouldn't recommend it. But in Ottawa, you literally don't have the option not to, because it's not downtown. So you have to drive, or you can get to the rink somehow and then try to get a cab afterwards. And you talked about, on the weekend, how impossible that was one time when you tried to do it. Because
it's a fist fight, and your cab is stolen multiple times. Your Uber gives up on you because they can't get to you. It's impossible.
It's just, man, I was baffled. What a poverty franchise. And I know that, we rag on Ottawa and stuff, and their team is supposed to be better, and they're going through ownership changes, for obvious reasons. But there's just, something has to give here. That rink is not sustainable in the place that it is with the infrastructure around it as it currently exists. Like, something has to change in Ottawa, or else they're never going to fill that barn on a night to night basis, no matter how good their team is. It's ridiculous. God. Anyway.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I like the organization, and like they're probably my third favorite team, but man, getting to that rink, that's just no fun at all. Like, going back now, it's like we should have went an hour early, because that's how long it takes to get into that rink. And like I said, with Toronto on Thursday, took the subway to Union, walk around the corner, and I'm at the rink.
Yep. And you don't have to stress about it. You don't have to find parking. You don't have to pay for parking. It's just a whole different animal. And I know they're different cities, and it's hard to compare the infrastructure, but come on, something's got to be done there. You can't take OC Transpo through the roundabout to park on the side, and then, you still have to walk 500 meters to the rink. Like, it's just, the whole setup is just a joke, man. Like, I can't believe that, like, season ticket holders, for example, I can't believe that they have to go through that every time. Like, we went to Pro Hockey Life before just to kill some time because we were so early to the game, and then we end up being late because of that nonsense. Like, it was just such a piss off, despite the fact that it was a great game and a great time.